Hi everyone, this is Janet from Simply Hooked by Janet. Today we're going to go over how to make this cowl neck warmer pattern. This is a pattern in my Stitch by Color collection, volume 1. And this specific cowl is called the Tippy Cowl. It's called the Tippy Cowl because the yarn dyer, her business was called Tippy Tree Yarns. So I thought I'd name this cowl partly after the yarn dyer. This pattern uses a special technique I call it Stitch by Color, but you may also hear it referred to as assigned color pulling or intentional color pulling. So this technique is used in crochet and knitting. Basically, you choose a color in your yarn skein. Typically it's a hand-dyed yarn, but a box store yarn may work as well. So you choose a color that you want to feature. So in this specific pattern, it's this nice brown color that's featured. And what you do, you have the other colors as the background stitch pattern. So for this one, it's just double crochet stitches. And then the featured color stitches or stitch is the puff stitch. So 3 puff stitches in a row for this pattern because that's what worked with my length of yarn color for the featured color. So this is made with DK weight yarn, just 1 skein of hand-dyed yarn, and you're going to need a measuring tape to measure your featured color yarn. For this one, to get 3 puff stitches in a row with my DK weight yarn and a 4.5mm hook, I needed a length of about 25 to 26 inches for this, so 63 to 66 centimeters. If you have a shorter length, that could probably work too, but it may only work for 2 puff stitches in a row rather than 3. So this is the Tippy Cowl, and you'll need your 4.5mm hook or whatever hook size will work for you to match the gauge with for this specific pattern. This cowl is worked top down, and the bottom has a very slight flare to it to fit over the shoulders better. So let's go ahead and get started on this. To get started on the Tippy Cowl, you will create your slip knot, and you need to chain 84 chains. But if you want a different circumference, you could really chain any number for this pattern. But to keep it a 1 skein project, you'll want to stick with the chain 84 or slightly less than 84 chains. Okay, once you have your 84 chains, I have a smaller length just for the purpose of this tutorial, but you will need to join to the first chain, so make sure you don't twist your length of chain. Join to the first chain with the slip stitch, and to start round 1, you'll chain 1, and all you need to do is work single crochets around in every single chain stitch. So work single crochets around, and I'll meet you to join. To complete round 1, after you have single crocheted around, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch in that round. And this pattern will be worked in turned rounds. So after each round, you'll chain 1 and turn. And the first stitch will be right here. Make sure you don't work into the join slip stitch. So the first stitch, each round is worked with a beginning double crochet, which is also known as a stacked single crochet. So to start the first stitch in each round, single crochet in the first, and then in this left vertical bar of the single crochet, work another single crochet. And that's a beginning double crochet or stacked single crochet, and that will start every round in this pattern. So this is pretty simple. Just double crochet around until your featured color comes up. And then once the featured color comes up in my yarn, I'll show you what the special stitch is. Okay, so I've reached my featured color now, so each time your featured color comes up, you will chain one and skip one. And the special stitch you'll be using is the puff stitch. And for this length of yarn, you're going to work 3 puff stitches in a row. So to create the first puff stitch, yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull through. And you'll do that 3 times. So that's 1 time, yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull through, and then 1 more time. Now you'll yarn over and pull through all but the last loop on the hook. So pull through 6 loops and then yarn over and pull through 2. So you'll do that 2 more times to get 3 puff stitches in a row. Once you've worked your 3rd puff stitch, chain 1 and skip 1, and then you just continue to double crochet around until the featured color comes up next. So every time your featured color comes up, you do a chain 1, skip 1, and then work 3 puff stitches in a row, chain 1, skip 1 again, and then continue with double crochet stitches. When you're ready to complete a round in this pattern, make sure you don't forget to double crochet into that last stitch. It's actually the stitch that you joined to, but because you turned, it may look like it's already worked into, but it's not. So double crochet and then join with the slip stitch to the first stitch, and don't forget to chain 1 and turn after each round is worked. So rounds 3 through 19 is just working a repeat of round 2. So you start with a stacked single crochet or beginning double crochet. So single crochet in the first, and then single crochet in that left vertical bar of that same single crochet, and then double crochet across and in the stitches and the chain spaces until your featured color comes up next. And then you'll just work your featured color with the chain 1, skip 1, 3 puff stitches, and then chain 1, skip 1, and then continue to double crochet. So sometimes your featured color may come up at the beginning or the end of a round. So here's an example where it came up on the very last stitch of a round. So instead of chaining 1 and skipping 1, I just worked a puff stitch in the next stitch and then started the next round with just 2 puff stitches. So you can kind of decide what you want to do if your color comes up at the beginning or the end of a round. So up here I was able to get 2 puff stitches at the end of a round and then start the next round with just double crochets in the featured colors still. So you can go ahead and decide what might work better for you in that situation. Okay, and just a little tip as you're working on your project, if the yarn is pulling, the colors are pulling in a way that you don't like, rather than turning in the round, you can actually just continue in the round in the same direction, just like a standard round is worked. So you just work your first stitch into that same stitch that you joined to rather than turning the round. So sometimes that can help avoid certain color pulling that you don't like in your project. So you could alternate turning rounds or not turning rounds in this piece. To finish the pattern, once you have 19 rounds of the pattern, we will work 2 more rounds. So the last round, not the last round, but round 20, it's basically worked the same as the previous rounds, but we're going to add some increases to the round. So we need to add 2 increases between each of the featured colors. So before your featured color comes up, work 2 increases, and an increase is just working 2 double crochet into the same stitch. So here's 1 increase, and then you could space it out as well, but my featured color is already here, so I will add my increase at the end of the round, my extra one. So I'll work my featured color pattern, 3 puff stitches, Okay, so I worked through my featured color. Now, before your featured color comes up again in your project, make sure you add 2 increases before your featured color comes up. So an increase is 2 double crochet in the same stitch. So just add 2 increases before the featured color comes up again. So to finish round 20, after you've worked all the way around and included increases in your round, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch, and then you'll chain 1. You don't need to turn for this round, but just single crochet in each stitch and each chain space around, and that will complete the cowl project for you. So you'll join after this round is completed, fasten off and weave in your ends, and you can also block your project, steam block it, or block it, wet block it in water. So that last round just adds a slight taper to the bottom of the cowl. So I hope you've enjoyed this project, and I really can't wait to see your yarn and the colors that you may work your project in. So I'll see you on the next one.